It's not fair. I work so hard on my personal growth, and my partner just doesn't try as hard as I do. I read all the books, I listen to the podcasts, I go to workshops. I try so hard to optimize every aspect of myself. I try to eat healthy, I try to work out, and they just are not doing the same. Right? When they give me feedback, I try really hard to implement it, to remember what they said, to create new habits. But when I do that to them, they don't seem to try as hard. Does that sound familiar? If you are an ENTP or another personality type that is really oriented around personal growth, then you probably have a voice like that often in your head. And this "it's not fair" voice is really interesting because I want to reframe it for you. Because I think it's really easy for us to get caught up in kind of uh, an understanding of it that isn't actually fully accurate. Um, so the framing that we typically go with, right, is "it's not fair. I do so much. Why don't they do the same for me?" Right? Um, and we kind of imagine embedded in that is this idea that um, them doing that for me should be about the same amount of work for them as me doing it for them. Right? So if I'm willing to put in this amount of work, if I'm willing to put in this amount of energy, then they should also be willing to put in the same amount of energy. Right? And that sounds reasonable on the surface, right? I mean, we know life isn't fair, right? So that's kind of one aspect of this, just accepting like, okay, why do I expect that this should be fair, right? Because the truth is that in every relationship, there's always going to be an imbalance, right? One person is always going to be more of a reader than the other person. One person is always going to be someone who's more oriented toward growth than the other, right? So it's probably impossible that you're going to find someone who's exactly the same as you, right? So it's already kind of a misunderstanding that perfect fairness is reasonable here. Obviously, if they're way off, right? If you're someone who tries really hard and they don't try at all, that's no good either, right? Then you should probably find something else, find a different relationship that is closer to you, right? You deserve someone who's willing to put in some effort, right? And if you're someone who loves personal growth and they hate personal growth, you're probably not a good match, right? But I'm assuming more that you're in somewhere of a more balanced relationship and you just want them to step it up a bit more, right? Eat a little healthier, work out more, work on better habits, listen to you better, give more when you ask for things, right? Um, so here's the reframing that I want to offer you. Um, Instead of thinking of it as, you know, you are doing kind of the appropriate amount and they are deficient, right? They're kind of below you. What if you instead think of it as um, you are someone who is super passionate about personal growth? So it's not that you're doing kind of the normal amount, you're doing an extreme amount, right? Like this is your superpower. You are really good at personal growth. You are really good at introspection, self awareness, building new habits, right? Someone gives you feedback. Awesome. I love it. Yes, I'm going to turn that into a new habit. Someone changes your mind. Oh, wow. Awesome. That was an amazing argument. Yes, you've changed my mind, right? That's natural to you. It's easy, right? It feels good. So you are operating at a really high level. So it's not that they're like super deficient, right? It's maybe they're normal and you're just amazing. So what if you see it that way instead? That it's kind of, this is your superpower. Of course you're good at it. You're amazing. And they have different superpowers, right? They probably have some things where they do something that's really natural to them and they think, well, this is unfair. Why isn't my partner meeting me there? Right? So I wonder if right now you just pause for a moment and think like, this is your superpower of personal growth, habits, whatever. What is theirs? What is something that they make look easy and that you're probably not as good at? Can that help you empathize? Um, and then, if that's the case, that this is more of a superpower of yours, it's actually not the case, that story that I mentioned earlier, that it's kind of a commensurate amount of effort. Right? It's like, oh, well, if I give this much, they should give this much too. It could be that for you, it actually requires way less energy to adopt a new habit. For them, maybe it requires way more energy to do that. So you might think, well, I'm just asking for the same amount of energy, but you're actually asking for a lot more from them. And especially if you kind of act as if it should be easy, like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you just do this? That probably doesn't feel good to them at all, right? Because you're acting as if it should be easy because it is easy for you, but it's not easy for them. So that's where you can, try on some different language, like really recognizing, hey, I just want to name, I'm asking a lot from you. I know that this is kind of easy for me and it doesn't come as naturally to you. So yeah, I want to be real about that I'm asking for you to expend a lot of energy here. And that would mean a lot to me. So I know it might take a while. There might be some ups and downs, but I would really appreciate if you would try that for me. That lands a lot differently. So I encourage you to see if you can try on that reframing. Instead of them being deficient or inferior, it's more that you're just awesome at this, or this is something that's really natural to you. So, love to hear how that goes in the comments. I wish you a nourishing day.